welcome to episode 17. If you are passionate about emotional moments, click like now to join Diep and James through a day full of challenges and sincere feelings. Early in the morning, in James's office, a calm atmosphere was filled with gentle sunlight streaming through the glass doors. Tuan appeared with a tense face and dark circles under his eyes from many sleepless nights. He sat in the chair across from James, his voice trembling. "Boss, my mum needs emergency surgery. The doctor said if it's not done right away, her life will be in danger. I have no other choice but to ask for your help." James listened intently, his eyes full of sympathy. "How much do you need?" Tuan hesitated. 50 million. I've borrowed from everywhere, but still not enough. I promise I'll work hard to pay it back." Without hesitation, James stood up, grabbed his notebook and wrote down some simple terms. "This is a loan agreement. I will transfer 50 million to you right now. After your mum recovers, you need to focus on work and learn more about machinery skills to improve productivity. Always remember that the health of your loved ones is more important than money." Tuan bowed his head, tears falling down his cheeks. "Thank you, boss. I will never forget your kindness." James placed a hand on Tuan's shoulder, his voice warm. "Go, take care of your mum first. I'll handle the work for you." After the transfer, James drove to Diep's farm. He had promised to join her in picking guavas at a garden 3 kilometers from the house. When he arrived, Diep had already prepared baskets for the guavas. James said excitedly, "Today, I'm going to learn to pick guavas with you." Diep smiled. "Are you sure you can handle it? It's not as easy as office work." With confident sleeves rolled up, James followed Diep into the guava garden. The guava trees were laden with fruit, their ripe guavas swaying in the wind. Clumsily, James reached out to pluck one, but unfortunately got bitten by an ant. "Ouch!" James winced, and Diep burst into laughter. "You have to be more careful. Ants usually live on the branches with the sweetest fruit." James forced a smile, and despite the pain, he continued. Together they harvested, their laughter echoing in the peaceful space of the garden. Watching Diep diligently picking guavas filled James with joy. They carried heavy, overflowing baskets of guavas back together. Although James still felt a bit awkward about his clumsiness, he was happy to work alongside her. On the way back, he softly said, "I'm not good at farming, but if I have you by my side, I'll learn slowly." Diep smiled gently, feeling an unusual warmth in her heart. Early in the morning, when dew still clung to the leaves, James and Diep carried baskets of freshly picked guavas from the garden to a small market near the village. The festive Tet atmosphere was everywhere, with streets aglow in the red of peach blossoms and people bustling about their shopping. Diep looked around excitedly. "Is this your first time selling at a market?" James smiled softly. "Yes, I think it's going to be interesting." They found an open spot along the roadside, spread out a tarp and arranged the baskets of fresh guavas. Diep put up a price sign, 15,000 VND/kg. The vibrant, plump guavas attracted many admiring glances from passers-by. An elderly lady stopped, looked at James and asked, "Are these guavas grown on your farm?" James nodded. "Yes, they're clean, grown without pesticide." The lady sampled one, a satisfied smile spreading across her face. "They're so sweet. I'll take 2 kg, please." James cheerfully weighed the fruit, handed her the bag, and made sure to wish her a happy new year. As the busy market slowly quieted down, James looked at Diep with a gentle gaze. "I never thought I'd spend a day like this, picking guavas with you and then sitting here selling them. It's really fun." Diep looked up, her eyes sparkling. "Thank you for always being by my side. With you, I feel like any difficulty can be overcome." James gently touched her hand and held it firmly. "I'll always be with you, no matter what happens." When the sun climbed high, they packed up their goods and happily counted the money they had earned. James was pleased. "We did pretty well today. I have to thank you for showing me how to farm." Diep laughed lightly. "You're not as clumsy as I thought." On the way home, James suddenly remembered Diep's studies. Once they got back, he gently asked, "How's your reading going these days?" Diep nodded, her eyes filled with pride. "Thanks to your father's advice, I've been teaching myself through books. I feel like I'm starting to understand things more." James smiled and encouraged her. "I plan to find a teacher to tutor you and also buy you a few books on business. I want you to have the knowledge to be more confident in the future." Diep blushed. "You always think so much of me. I'm truly touched." James softly brushed her hair, his eyes full of love. I want you to be strong and happy. Let's work hard together." In the evening, in their small home, the warm glow of the yellow lamp filled the space as James and Diep planned for the farm. The joy from their simple work that day brought them even closer, making them feel hopeful about the future. In the morning, the brilliant sunlight shone down on the company's experimental farm. James stood in the middle of a rice field at planting time, his eyes carefully observing each tall, vibrant F25 rice bed. This was the pilot project for a new rice variety he had invested in, aimed at boosting yield and helping farmers achieve a more stable life. He was pleased to see the rice growing well, with plump heads signaling a bountiful harvest. While inspecting the machinery at the edge of the field, James discovered that some equipment had been damaged by water seepage from last night's heavy rain. He frowned and motioned for Tuan to come over. "Tuan, what's going on with these machines?" Tuan quickly explained, "Well, it rained heavily last night and water overflowed into the storage, causing some machines to get damp. But I fixed them. The machines are now working normally." James tested them, and upon seeing them run smoothly, patted Tuan on the shoulder. "Good job. But remember to check more thoroughly next time to avoid any equipment damage. This project is very important. There can be no mistakes." Tuan nodded determinedly. "Yes, boss. I will inspect the entire system again." After discussing work with Tuan, James strolled over to the area where cherry tomatoes were being grown. This was his new idea to diversify agricultural products. The small tomato plants with their plump red fruits were gradually thriving in the favorable soil conditions. James was pleased with the initial results, and he planned to expand the model if the yield remained steady. Meanwhile, Diep was busy with work at her own farm. She had just brought home a batch of chicks, herding them into the coop as their chirping filled the yard. The little chicks with their shiny yellow feathers delighted her. "These little ones will bring more life to the farm," she thought. Not only chickens, but Diep had also prepared a coop for the new ducks she had brought home, hoping to eventually expand the scale. Diep never stopped learning poultry care skills from the books that James had gifted her. She thought to herself, "I must learn more so I don't let him down." Watching the little chickens frolic in the yard filled her with hope for a brighter future. James returned to the farm and seeing Diep happily with her new flock couldn't help but smile. "You're amazing. Your farm is becoming more and more vibrant." Diep looked up, her eyes shining with pride. "Thanks to your help and encouragement I have come this far." James nodded. "Let's keep working hard together. The future will be brighter." In the late afternoon, the sunlight faded behind the trees in front of the hospital gate. Diep and Tuan walked into the hospital room where Tuan's mother was resting after surgery. Diep's eyes were filled with worry, while Tuan couldn't hide his tension. Diep quickly approached, holding the frail hand of the woman, her voice choked with emotion. "Mum, you're awake. I was so worried, I was scared of losing you." Tears streamed down Diep's face as she bent down, burying her face in the woman's hand. Tuan's mother gently stroked Diep's hair and softly said, "My dear, don't cry. I'm okay now. I'll try to get better so I can stay with you both." Tuan stood nearby, moved but trying to hold back his emotions, and softly spoke, "Mom, just rest. Everything is okay now." After the doctor checked and confirmed her condition was stable, Tuan suggested that Diep step outside to talk. They found a nearby coffee shop. The space was quiet, but Diep's mind was in turmoil, not understanding why Tuan seemed so serious. Once seated, Tuan looked at Diep with hesitant eyes before finally deciding to speak the truth. "Diep, there's something I need to tell you." Tuan hesitated before continuing. "Mum, isn't your biological mother?" The words hit like a bolt of lightning, leaving Diep stunned, her eyes filled with utter confusion. "What are you saying? I don't understand." Tuan lowered his gaze, his voice turning hoarse. "You are adopted. Mum took you in when you were just a baby, abandoned at the temple gate. She couldn't have children of her own, so she brought you home and raised you." Diep felt her whole body go cold, her heart shattering into pieces. "No, that can't be." Diep struggled to hold back her emotions, but the tears kept falling. It felt like her entire world was collapsing, the pain tearing her apart. "Why are you telling me this now? Why?" I just started to feel like I had a family. Why is life so unfair to me? Diep En looked at Diep, his eyes filled with sorrow. I know, but I couldn't keep it from you any longer. Mum has always loved you as her own child. Even without blood ties, she gave you all her love and care. Diep sobbed uncontrollably, feeling betrayed, as if everything she had clung to had just slipped away. I thought, I finally had a place where I belonged, and now, I'm just a child who was abandoned. Tuan hurriedly grabbed her hand, his voice trembling. Di, I'm sorry, but you have to believe that Mum truly loves you. She devoted her entire life to caring for you. Don't let this truth break you. In the afternoon, as the glow of sunset gradually faded, James hurried to find Diep after Tuan had left. Without saying a word, James gently stepped forward and wrapped his arms around her from behind. He held her close, so that Diep could lean against his chest. He softly rubbed her back and said in a deep, warm voice, I'm here now, it's okay. Go ahead and cry. You don't have to hold it in. Once Diep had calmed down a bit, James helped her into the car. The two sat in silence, with only the gentle hum of the engine rolling along the quiet country road. Diep sat quietly, her eyes still tinged with sorrow but seeming to gradually understand something. You're right. Mum loved me like her own child, always worrying about every meal and every night's sleep. It's just, I feel betrayed, as if everything was just an illusion. James smiled gently, taking Diep's hand firmly. Sometimes the truth hurts, but it doesn't change the value of love. You're still your mother's daughter, even if she didn't give birth to you. Don't let this truth wash away all the happiness you've ever known. When they got home, it was already dark. James gently led Diep into the small house by the garden. The soft glow of yellow lights filled the space, creating a warm feeling amid the cool night. Diep sat down in a chair, burying her face in her hands, and said, choked with emotion, I will continue to take care of Mum, no matter what. She raised me and loved me like her own child. I can't abandon her now. James sat down beside her, wrapping his arms around her from behind, his voice filled with determination. I will always be by your side. No matter what happens, I won't let you face it alone. We'll get through this together. Gradually, gentle laughter began to return, easing some of the lingering sorrow. James looked over at Diep as she cared for the chickens, feeling his own heart grow lighter. When the modest meal was ready, the two sat at a small wooden table, the soft yellow light highlighting Diep's still somber face. James gently took her hand, his voice full of trust. We'll rebuild everything together. You won't have to bear it all alone, not with me here. Diep nodded softly, her heart warmed by James's steadfastness and sincere affection. In the quiet space, with only the sound of crickets chirping outside in the garden, Diep knew that no matter how painful her past had been, she still had James, a person ready to face every hardship in life with her.
Tan biến giữa thực tại khắc nghiệt, hành trình trong tập này sẽ mang đến câu trả lời đầy bất ngờ và dây dứt. Buổi sáng tại trang trại nhỏ, Diệp thức dậy sớm hơn thường lệ. Cô đứng bên khung cửa sổ cũ kỹ, nhìn ra khu vườn rau xanh mướt đầy dần nảy mầm, lòng chợt dần lên cảm giác bình yên hiếm hoi. Nhưng sự bình yên ấy nhanh chóng bị xáo trộn khi cô nhìn thấy Giang, người đàn ông với nụ cười ấm áp đã làm trái tim cô rung động. Cô nhận ra mình yêu anh không phải từ hôm qua mà từ rất lâu, có lẽ từ khoảnh khắc đứng trước cô, bảo vệ cô khỏi sự tàn nhẫn của bao những ngày, khi cảm giác ngọt ngào ấy len lỏi trong vào lòng. Nỗi tự ti lại trỗi dậy như một con sóng dữ. Mình là ai mà dám yêu anh ấy? Một người phụ nữ nghèo khổ, từng bị chồng bỏ rơi, không cha không mẹ. Mình không xứng